Alright.
Can you read my coffee? Thank you.
There we go. Hello, everyone. Welcome to
Blended.
We're back, and we have a baby. Surprise!
Surprise!
So we have been away for a few months, and that's because obviously we were having a baby.
I'm very excited to be back.
Yeah, we're coming back after 2-3 months or something.
Yeah, about that. Maybe a little bit more.
A little bit more.
I had a tough pregnancy, so we kind of had to put it on pause for the tail end there.
Yeah, the tough late stage of the pregnancy, and then work and kids and
Delivering a baby.
all delivering a baby and all that jazz. We'll get into the story right away. So we were inducing him at 38 weeks, 39 weeks,
39 weeks.
39 weeks, and so it was. Do we call it self-induced?
So it's called maternal request, I think, by maternal request. So what happened was I was having a significant level of pain due to some complications at the end of the pregnancy. So we were with midwifery, which we've talked about in the past, and they suggested that we could opt for. I'm just going to readjust him here. Opt for an elective induction, which is the other word for it is elective. And so we thought a lot about that because there are some risks involved with inductions and stuff like that, but we decided that was the best way forward for us.
Yeah, he was a healthy baby. Everything was normal.
Yeah.
But yeah, just a hard pregnancy.
Yeah.
And then so we were scheduled to be induced. Was it a Friday?
It was a Friday.
Friday morning, we're supposed to go to the hospital at 8 a.m.
Yeah.
And or before we tell that, we were planning on having a home birth.
Originally, the plan was for a home birth. Yeah.
For a home birth, but because of the immense pain you were already feeling throughout the
Yeah.
pregnancy,
We just didn't feel like I'd be able to cope with like an unmedicated, unassisted
yeah, and
home birth.
we thought it was just better because there was no point in going through a lot more pain.
I just don't think I could have coped with it. Like, ideally, going into a home birth, you're coming into that with like a pretty high threshold of like energy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You're probably hearing these hiccups on the mic here.
And
Just because I was so depleted and worn down by that point, it just didn't make sense. Like I wasn't going to be able to cope and like do a lot of the movements required to work through a natural. I don't want to say natural because most labor, any labor is natural, but unmedicated labor. So we decided it was a tough call, but I'm glad it was the right call, 100%.
Yeah. So anyway, supposed to go there on Friday morning at 8 a.m. and then we had arranged for your cousin to come down and watch Genevieve
and the
doggy, and so we had everything packed. We're on our way, and then you get a call.
Yeah, but we were literally on our way out the door.
We're literally on our way out the door, and you got a call from the midwife. And what did she say?
She said that somebody else had come in, and there was only one of her, and so they had to postpone our induction, and it was either going to be like later that day, over the weekend, or on Monday. And that was like a huge hit. Like I just was like, because I was in so much pain, and so like getting myself to the finish line, like we finally had this day in place, and I just had to get myself to that day, and then we would have the baby, and then my pain would start resolving itself, and blah blah blah. And so I was so focused on just getting myself through to that day that when we got bumped, one is your heartbreak of like, oh, we thought we were going to meet our baby today, and now we're not, which we're both really really excited about. And like mentally you're prepared, like, okay, I'm going to go into labor on this day, and like that's a lot of mental prep. But also like all of a sudden I was like in an extended, now another however many days of being in pain again and getting myself mentally prepared to go through that. And that was really tough. You also struggled with that.
I remember I was angry, like very angry too.
Which is very unlike him. Like you, it takes quite a bit to rattle you, I would say.
I know. So we were so excited, and yeah, and they told us they'll call us in the afternoon. And the one thing was they told us, okay, that's not happening today. And then the second was they didn't tell us when it's going to happen. It's going to be later this day, or it could be Saturday or Sunday, or it could be sometime like
in the following
week. So it was just like crazy. Anyway, so we're really mad. And then we got another call around 1. I think you were taking a nap at
I
that
was
time.
sleeping
The
by that
midwife
point,
called, and she said,
not today.
not today, because she's doing another birth.
The lady that had come in hadn't given birth yet.
hadn't given birth yet. And so anyway, other than that, we didn't get a lot of other explanation. Um, they said they'll try for. No, they said they can't do on the weekend because they're
Understaffed.
understaffed. And so they're like, okay, Monday most likely, and then we'll confirm.
So the reason why we were getting bumped was because it was by maternal request, meaning elective. I think had it been like medically indicated at that point, then I don't think they would have bumped us. But just because it was considered elective, um,
You can keep talking.
just because it was considered elective, then if anybody else came in or if somebody else had an emergent case, then they were obviously getting priority.
Yes. And so anyway, Monday came, and then we had to arrange a care situation once again for the kids, and again it was this whole thing like, okay, they could
Scrambling.
bump us up at literally as our way we were on the way out the door. So that was just like 3 days of dealing with it's happening. It's scheduled for Monday, but we don't know if it's going to be Monday. And
Yeah.
then you're going to be full term, I think, like on Thursday or Friday. It's
No,
the
so
same
it
week.
was like 30. I would have been
You're
actually,
39 weeks
yeah,
when
I
you
was
do start.
39 and a bit.
Yeah, so you're
So
going to be 40 on Friday or
yeah, we're a
Thursday
few
of the
days
same
out
week.
from my
Yeah,
like actual due date.
yeah. So um, anyway, who watched the kids stuff?
My parents did.
Oh yeah, we sent Gigi over there, and then what happened
Your
to
friend
Odie?
took
Oh yeah, I
our
dropped off
friends,
our
I should
dog
say.
to one of our friends who were very kind enough to take him for a few days. Shout
It's so
out.
hard because we were like trying to plan for like the dog and our like our oldest daughter,
Yeah,
and we were like trying to. Everybody is like rearranging their lives to help accommodate us, and then like so it added an extra layer of anxiety on like what if we get bumped and then we have to like put people out even more, and
exactly.
it was stressful that
Mm,
weekend, I would say.
yeah. So shout out to all the family and friends that were able to accommodate us.
Yeah, we like couldn't have done it without them.
Yeah. So anyway, day of,
Yep.
we decided we're not going to pick up any phone calls as we were going to the hospital this
We're
time.
showing up.
We're just going to show up. But luckily, nobody called. We got to the hospital. Um, and then we went to labor and delivery. Our
Hmm.
midwives were there, and they started doing all the prep stuff.
Yeah, so I think they did some blood work. They ran an IV and IV fluids.
Yeah.
Got the pitocin set up. So pitocin is so the induction method that we had because I was already dilated. I think I was like what 4 centimeters by the time we got there, like a solid four. Was they didn't need to dilate the cervix, so it was TMI, FYI, if anyone is squirrely. Um, is they just had to run pitocin and break the waters, which was fantastic. That made things a lot easier for me physically.
Yeah.
So they were getting all of those things set up.
Yeah. And what else? So after that, there was a. They started. What did we do to start
They
the
broke the
oxytocin?
yeah, so they started well, they set up the IV line for the oxytocin or pitocin, whatever you want to call it. And then they broke my waters, which was not a fun experience. That was tough, but it took a while to do. But once
Yeah.
that was done, they started rolling with the pitocin. Um and then things kind of picked up pretty quickly from there.
Yeah, and then we had to decide after like a couple hours.
Yeah.
I'm gonna show him here because he's asleep now. Finally, he was fighting sleep for an hour. So cute. Um, so after that, we have to decide if we're gonna take the
Epidural.
epidural because the way it works at hospitals is like you get an opportunity when the what do you call them,
Anesthesiologist.
anesthesiologist is around.
She was about to go into a C-section, and so the midwives came in. They're like, "Okay, we have a window here, and if you don't do it now, your next opportunity won't be for a few hours, best case."
Yeah,
And so I hummed and hawed. I was like, "Should I do it? Should I not do it?" And you're like, "Max, what are we doing here? Like, why be in pain if you don't need to be? Do it."
exactly. And
And then
then
everything flew into motion after that.
yeah, the anesthesiologists were there. They started the epidural. Um, and I'm so glad we did it because they bump up the oxytocin every half an hour,
Hmm.
and so I knew the pain was going to get start significantly more,
Very quickly.
and then we might not have been able to get the epidural
I
for a
bet
few
you,
hours.
looking back now, I wouldn't have even been able to get it because by the time they would have been available again, I was like getting into the end stages of labor.
Exactly.
So it
So
all worked out perfectly.
yeah, so I'm so glad we got that.
And it was amazing. The anesthesiologist was fantastic. Um, I was far more mobile than I thought with this epidural. So they run the epidural in with my first daughter, that I gave birth to like 9 years ago. Like from the waist down, it basically ceases to exist. Like I had no movement, no mobility, nothing. So that's what I was expecting this time. The way she ran it this time, I could actually like lift myself off the bed a bit. Like I couldn't get up and walk by any means, but I could like wiggle my feet. I could move my legs around. I had like a certain level of mobility, which was really cool. I was not expecting that, but like zero pain.
Yeah, which was really good. And then what else? We were in the labor and delivery room for a while. And then it was just a waiting game after that,
Yeah, we're just
right?
hanging out. It was
Hanging
actually really
out.
amazing.
Yeah, the hospital was nice. They had some food and stuff downstairs, so I went downstairs for a bit while you were, I guess you were almost napping at that point.
Yeah, I was just relaxing,
Yeah,
closing
the
my eyes.
midwives came and checked in every few minutes
Yeah.
or every half an hour or so.
But it was so peaceful and calm. Like, I think because it was a scheduled induction versus going into labor, because typically if you just go into labor, you're at home laboring for like quite some time. And like, so you're in pain for quite a long time, and then you're waiting to go to the hospital, and then they have to check you while you're in labor. And like, that's what happened with my first one. And that was not a fun experience. And then this time, because you're going in and everything is planned, I got the epidural right away before the real contractions started really rolling in and anything. So it was like basically a painless birth. Like it was phenomenal. Very peaceful, calm, quiet, and like
Yeah,
intentional. It was amazing.
yeah, it was great. And then um, so when the final contractions started happening,
Mm-hmm.
I had gone downstairs
Yeah.
to get some coffee or some food or whatever, and then
I had been feeling some like different pressure, and so I paged the midwives in, and I was like, "Can you just do another check?" Because they weren't doing another check yet, but I was like, "I feel like something's up." So they're like, "Okay, well, you're basically like good to push now." I was like, "Okay, let's just wait for Wayne to get upstairs." I'm like, "Is this urgent?" They're like, "No, you're fine." So I'm like, "Okay, let's just let him go get something to eat, and then when he gets here, we'll start
yeah,
pushing."
and then when you called me, I was already like at the elevator
Yeah.
on the way up, and then I just rushed back, and then the midwives were already there. They started the process of
Getting everything set up.
getting everything set up, and then yeah. So I think from the active, what is it called, active labor? The
Active
pushing from
the pushing is like the like end stage of labor. Active labor is when your like real contractions
right. So
start.
pushing was like
50
20,
15
15,
minutes.
15 minutes, which was really cool. And yeah, the midwives were very helpful and
They
supportive.
were amazing.
Yeah, I remember in the middle you were like, I can't do it.
Not doing it right.
Yeah, but she was doing it right, of course, because he's here. And yeah, he was born and he was a large baby.
Yeah, he was huge.
Yeah, he was 9 pounds 5 ounces,
Yeah.
which was huge. We weren't expecting
I had
that much.
declined the 36-week ultrasound because there's no, I was measuring on track. Everything was great. So there's no medical indication for it. So it's
Yeah,
like, no, let's skip it. There's no indication that we need it. But had we had that ultrasound, they would have seen how big he was, and we would have been induced between 38 and 39 weeks. And it wouldn't have been elective. It would have been medically indicated because it's called large for gestational age, LGA. Like had we gone any later, like there could have been significant complications during the delivery because he would have been so big he could have gotten stuck, which is called shoulder dystocia.
yeah,
So it actually was like like worked out in our favor that we got the induction when we did.
that we got the induction. Yeah.
I remember
Uh,
the first thing they put him on my chest, and the first thing I was like, "He's huge."
I know.
His head was just massive.
Yeah, he was huge. He was big for his age.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, we had a slight tear, obviously, because he was really big.
yeah, a level
Um,
2 or grade 2 or whatever they call it
yeah,
tear, which is tissue and muscle repair.
yeah. So that wasn't fun. After that, they moved us to.
Oh, and I had a hemorrhage when he came out, but they
Oh
managed
yeah,
it well. But I lost quite a bit of blood.
yeah. His placenta was huge too.
Yeah,
Crazy. Um,
yeah, they show you like the placenta, and it was like massive. Like no wonder I was like struggling so hard at the end.
I know.
The between him and the placenta, there was like 20 pounds of
Yeah,
plus everything else there.
yeah.
So
But yeah, that was the full birth story. After that, we got moved to our room.
and so you go to labor and delivery for the delivery part, and they move you to like a maternity ward after that for recovery.
Yeah, and then rooms are, even if you're getting a private room, you can't pre-book them. Like once you have the baby, then they see if there's something available, and then you can get it.
Yeah.
And then we stayed at the hospital for one night, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just checking him
Every 3 hours
every 3 hours.
for his blood sugars because he was LGA or large gestational age. They have to keep an eye on his blood sugars just like they would with a like smaller baby, to make sure that they're not having any issues regulating their blood sugars. But he was fine.
Yeah, blood sugar, jaundice. They had to keep an eye out on you. Your iron levels were low at some point.
Yeah, they looked at my blood count and it was pretty low.
Yeah, and then you still were in a lot of pain, obviously from the tear and the stitches, and then the epidural was wearing off.
Yeah, I wish
Um,
they could run the epidural for like an extra day.
I know, right?
It was rough. That first 24 hours or so in the hospital was not for the faint of heart. That was tough, but
Yeah,
the labor was really good, so
yeah.
it's a trade-off.
Next day we were discharged. I think in the evening. I remember it was dark
It
and
was like
snowy.
6 o'clock.
It was 6 o'clock. They were gonna give you like an iron transfusion,
Hmm.
but then I think the nurse came and she was fiddling around,
They
and
had
then
to
I
run
got
another IV because the one from my labor had fallen out, and she couldn't get it in the vein, and I was at like I could not cope with any additional pain at this point. Like I was just maxed out, and I was like, forget it. Like unless you this is like medically like critical, I'm like I'll come back and get another day if I have to, but I just can't do it right now. So I ended up declining the iron transfusion.
I know they said it wasn't like it was low, but you were in the clear.
Yeah.
So anyway, we said we're not doing it. Um, we got discharged, and then we had to go to the car.
Yes.
I remember it was the longest walk to the car. It's
Yeah.
also a big
It's a
hospital.
huge hospital, and it was like across. I'm just gonna adjust from here. Um, is you okay?
Yeah, it's fine.
We had to walk like from one end of the hospital to the other. It felt like to get from the maternity ward to the car, and that was like the longest walk of my entire life. I'm like waddling, barely waddling through a hospital with a giant diaper on.
Yeah.
It was brutal, but we got there. We got
We
in the
got
car.
there, got in the car. It was like heavily snow. I think it was right before one of the snowstorms.
I think so. It was a ton of snow that night. It was really slippery.
Yeah. Got in the car, drove home, and then our first night home was with just you and I and the baby. There
Hmm.
was nobody home. Kids were gone. Dog was gone,
Which was
uh,
a great transition
which was kind of nice. And then you went straight upstairs, and then it was our first night with the baby
at home.
at home. Just us and the new baby, which was kind of nice. And then we had the next day to ourselves too, or
Most of it, and then the Gigi came in the afternoon.
you came in the
Did
afternoon.
Amanisha come the same day too? I feel like she did.
Yeah, Manisha was on the same day as
Maybe yeah.
well.
My parents brought Gigi back and made us dinner. I had requested steak and crepes. My dad
Oh yeah.
obliged,
Um,
and then Amanisha came a little bit after they arrived.
yeah, she came a little bit after they arrived, so they both saw him on the same day, which was really
Yeah.
nice. And they were both really excited to see him. I
Hmm.
think Gigi cried.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did we record that interaction?
We recorded both of them meeting him.
Yeah, so that was cool. We might we'll upload that once we talk about it if we want to upload that
Yeah.
or not. Yeah. So yeah, that's it. That's our comeback episode with the baby.
So he's 4 weeks old now.
Yeah, he's 4 weeks old.
He'll be 5 in a few days.
Yeah.
How's it been going so far? First of all, what was your impression of the birth? Let's rewind this a little bit.
It was great. Very relaxing. We had lots of support. Um, Delivery was good.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you for me it was also fine. Um, um, yeah, just so you get a surge of emotion when you see the baby for the first time, and then yeah, it was great. He's awesome. He's a
He is.
big guy.
He is,
The
but he's
biggest.
such a sweet baby. Like he has a great temperament.
Yeah, he's a great temperament.
Yeah.
Um,
So and like our nights, we've figured out a system. Yeah, knock on wood. We figured out a system that works for us. So I felt like super well supported by you this entire time, and you've given me so much space for recovery, both like emotionally because of all the hormones, and physically because that was a mountain to climb as well.
yeah,
Um, it's been great. Like it's been a magical 4 weeks.
yeah, and you recovered well.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think you were surprised at the initial how quickly your stomach went back in.
Yeah, my stomach dropped in size. Like a lot of women I find will still look like 4 or 5 months pregnant with for the first month or two, but within 2 weeks I was almost right back at what I was pre-pregnancy, which was pretty crazy, minus weight gain. But
Yeah.
um, so that was pretty wild.
Yeah. Yeah, and then slowly people came and visited.
Yeah, we took our time with visitors and have had because one, it's like flu season,
Yeah, flu
and two,
season,
it's
you're
just
recovering.
my recovery. Yeah.
Yeah, and baby's new, obviously. We want to protect him.
Hmm.
Plus, we had snowstorms, so that
Yeah,
automatically canceled some of our plans, which is good.
and people getting sick too. So we had plans to see some people, and then they got sick, so we had to cancel. And so it's just been a really slow introduction to our family and friend circle. But
Yeah,
that's okay. There's lots of time for that.
exactly. So, yeah, I think that's it for now. We'll produce more
Yep,
as we go along. And yeah, keep this rolling and get some more fun stuff for you guys.
we do. Yeah.
All right,
We'll
thanks
see you
everyone.
soon. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, thanks for watching.
You should do it.